Welcome everyone, it's your guy BAMFU, and I have a good one for you today that's valid as salad. This is going to be about how I evaded the police from a noise complaint at my house on accident. So before we dive in, I noticed that I actually have a couple subscribers now. Hey, and if you're a returning sub, I just want to say thanks. I really never had any expectation of really getting any subscribers, not even thinking about it. I'm just like making these videos for a little therapeutic activity, if you will. Also drop a comment and tell me what you've been gaming on. I've been doing a little VR here lately and actually jumped back on Hunt Showdown, and I'm always on Overwatch. I've been playing Overwatch 1 since beta, but I don't want to ramble too much, so let's get into the story. This was back in the summer of 2010 or 2011. I remember this day, the roommates and we were planning to go to a local electronic show. I think it was like a dubstep show, particularly. We're planning to actually link up with some other friends at the show and most likely have some form of after party when the event was over. So I remember we were all getting ready for that night. We show up to the venue or like the little place and we link up with our friends. We had a great time there. We roll out. And then we start discussing, where we're going to go. Are we going to go to X, Y, or Z's house? Like, we need to pick up drinks, whatever. So we decide to go back to our place. So we get the details hammered out, and we get one of our roommates that was 21 at the time to swing by the gas station on the way back to get a couple of cases of Keystone. And hey, I don't know if that beer is even around anymore, but you're going to hear about it anytime I talk about a story from the earlier 2010s, dude. That beer was so fucking cheap, and it would always get the job done for us broke-ass college kids. The best way to describe Keystone is it's basically like foam. For some reason, no matter how cold Keystone was, I always just remember it being the foamiest beer of all time. Like, holy shit. Drop a comment if you've ever drank or just remember this beer. It could still be out there, but I haven't seen it in years at my stores. I remember they had a mascot at one point, or maybe it was just a promotion. And it was just some regular guy named Keith Stone. Like, dude, hell, my roommate Gil, that's been in a couple of videos like previous. Dude, he went to a Halloween party we had back in the day as Keith Stone, and no one knew who he was because he just kind of looked like himself carrying a Keystone cooler. Like, anyways, let me get back on topic here. So we secure the cases of Keystone and head back to the house. We all meet up at our place and just really start kicking it. After a few minutes of chilling, we decided to put on some music. Now, a lot of us were musicians or we played in bands. So we always had some pretty fucking awesome speakers to play music. A lot of the time, we'd use my bass rig because it was just, it could handle bass. So any electronic shit we're listening to, dude, it just beat, dude. That thing, it was a two-stack amp. So I had two cabinets, which, if you don't understand, two giant speakers essentially. And man, these speakers would just be so loud. They could shake the entire house. There was always one problem. If the volume got too loud, there were some people like kind of down the street from us across the street that would, call a noise complaint and report it to the cops, right? And at the time, it seemed really lame because we were really far away from this house that we suspected, that would report us. And then the house right next door to us was our landlord's house, who was only in the country like maybe, 2 months out of the entire year. So we were kind of isolated. But now, hey, looking back on it, I'm a lot older now. It was probably hella loud, right? Because like bass waves just get like more loud as they get like the further away, right? So they probably had a right to say something. But that being said, I always try to keep the volume at like a reasonable level. But oh my God, Jesus Christ. One of our roommates, Dan, man, he'd always get too fucked up, dude, and then sneak off and just like crank the volume up. And he would just he'd always do it like little by little each time. So you just like wouldn't notice it right off the bat. And, sometimes depending on the songs, you could have it louder than others, right? But this was one of the nights he decided to do so. And, I would even go and check on it every now and then because I knew he would do this shit. And, I really just didn't want the cops to bust our party because we're having fun. And there's a lot of people here. So it's just, it could just get messy real quick if the cops show up. But, this party in particular was becoming a little bit of a rager. And, I didn't really notice how loud the music has gotten. And, because I was in the cut, people are like dancing, we're drinking, we're smoking, just really having a good time. And we've had police come, to the house for a noise complaint before, we're throwing parties or playing music, and anytime the cops would come before, we would just like, kind of lay low, turn the lights off, and like hide in the back of the house, or just lay low till the cops left, and they would go away, because essentially they had shut down the noise, and I'm sure that's really what they wanted to do. So sure enough, Danny has crept around and slowly cranked up the music on us, man. And I'm stepping out in the living room or something, and the next thing I'm about to go out for a cigarette, and outside, man, I see cops pulling in as I was about to walk outside through like the window of the door. And so I tell everyone, I turn around, I'm like, yo, get the fucking music off. The cops are here, you fucking assholes, or turning this shit up too loud. Like, kill the lights. I go into my room, and the girl I was dating at the time, we both go into my room, and I turn out the lights, and we just get into bed, and I'm just gonna act like I'm asleep, right? And when this would happen, usually we would let the older roommates, there's like maybe one or two people, or just like a year older than us, that were legally able to like drink. So they would handle it and just be like, oh, sorry, we got a little too loud, whatever. And they'd kind of like brisk off. Or, we just, like I said, we just lay low, and sometimes they just walk away and leave. But as I was laying in the bed, like my window was really close to the front door. It was like, it was like right adjacent to it. So I could kind of hear what was going on out there. One of the guys was outside at our party dude, he was a little snitch. He was friends with someone that we were like also friends with, and he would tag along, and dude he never threw in on smoke. He never brought any booze there. He was just always kind of this little skatey guy. But I distinctively remember hearing him in particular say, he's like saying to the cops, like, this isn't everyone, hey, if I'm getting fucked over, everyone else is too. Which, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, this guy's never fucking coming back to our house again. This was some of the last things I remember hearing, because shortly after, while I'm pretending to be asleep, me and my girl that I was dating at the time, we both fall asleep. I mean, hell, I was probably 13, 14 beers in with a dozen bong rips in me, so it wasn't difficult for me to crash at this point. Anyways, I wake up the next day and, see some of our roommates out in the living room. Turns out no one got arrested, but they did give everyone there a court date that day, other than me, because, dude, I passed out. They're like, dude, where were you at? I was like, dude, I literally like fell asleep, like I just figured it would all blow over. And then I also remember talking to my roommate Gil, and he was like, man, he's like, I ran with one of our other friends into the backwoods of our, like, behind our house, and dove in the bushes. And he's like, this one cop, it was like a really heavy set cop. He was like, he just kind of walked by and shined his flashlight in the bush, was like, all right, found you boys, come on out. And he's like really cool about it. And he said, dude, the cop was looking at Gil's ID, and he's like, bro, you're 21. You're totally fine. You didn't need to run, dude. He's just like laughing at him. I really couldn't believe that my drunk ass had passed out and avoided this situation, because all of them got supervised probation for a year, other than Gil, because he was of age and the cop was just like cool with them. And my other roommate, Manny, which was also in previous videos, because Manny got a lawyer and he got probation, but he got unsupervised probation, so he didn't have to be drug tested like every other month, or have the chance of being drug tested. So that night too, I also remember there were a few girls that came back with us that maybe knew one of the people that initially came like out of our original friend group. And I remember the cops let them drive home, and dude, they were like fucked up. They were like hitting, like smacking like rum bottles all night. And I knew that they were extra lit, but someone was saying that maybe that they were like flirting pretty hard with the cops, and that's why the cops just let them leave and drive off. I don't know. But I definitely remember, like, after we kind of caught up with the night and everything, I remember telling everybody, I was like, dude, so-and-so's friend, I heard him out there trying to narc out people. And he's like, oh yeah. He's like, I kind of thought it was weird when they, said they heard other people in there. And I was like, dude, he probably definitely, they might not have noticed at first, but he didn't do anyone else any favors. Also, looking back, if it was the same people calling the cops on us each time, dude, we maybe had the cops come out like 4 times. And on the last time that they came out and everyone, like a bunch of people got, probation for it, that was the last time they stopped by, because we were like really on our P's and Q's after that shit. Anyways, I don't recommend doing any of this, but hey, it's nice for me to go back and reminisce on my old stupid 20-year-old self, Anyways, if you've enjoyed this video, hit it with a like and drop a comment. Also, don't forget to click that subscribe button for some more storytime videos. But be safe out there, and remember to take it easy, gamers.